This swath of land here behind me, the National Mall, may be one of the most iconic pieces of land, not just in the United States, but in the world. And the NFL has wanted to bring its draft here for a very long time. But now there are a number of factors in play that all came together to make that announcement happen. It's coming in the next couple of years, and there were a lot of things having to do with both politics and sports that were at play. President Trump appearing in full command of the NFL today by laying out a huge deal with the Commanders.
That the 2027 NFL draft, that's a big thing, will be held right here in our nation's capital, Washington.
Bringing one of the sport's most popular events, the NFL draft, to the National Mall. An event attended by hundreds of thousands and watched by millions more. But for the president, this image may be the bigger win. Roger Goodell, the man who announces the picks,
with the first pick,
picking the White House to make this announcement.
When we come here to D.C. in
The NFL commissioner, whose father served in the House and Senate, he's like the Travis Hunter of political navigators, skillful on both sides of the ball. Just this year, meeting with President Trump at the Super Bowl, the first time ever a sitting president has gone to the big game. While days before, defying the president's executive order to upend corporate efforts on diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI.
It does make the NFL better. So we're not in this because it's a trend to get in it or a trend to get out of it.
But for the president, he's taken much more of a my way or the highway approach to America's most popular league. When he failed to buy the Baltimore Colts in the 80s, he went to the rival USFL. Before a lawsuit he launched against the NFL effectively tanked the rival upstart. And after failing to buy the Buffalo Bills in 2014, he pivoted to another passion, politics. But the league followed him there, his first term marked by the national anthem protests, led by a kneeling Colin Kaepernick, then the San Francisco 49ers quarterback, who has since settled a grievance with the league over alleged collusion to keep him out, something President Trump desperately wanted.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a off the field right now?
The question right now is why now? The NFL near a popularity peak, with its games making up 72 of the most 100 watched events in the U.S. last year. So they're not hurting for fans, but they are trying to appeal to a new base, thanks to a new fan. Taylor Swift dating the Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. One poll showing nearly 2/3 of Gen Z and millennial women now hold positive views of the NFL, to the point that the NFL inked a deal with a popular brand among young women to create content. You see Swift there as the face of it. That running headfirst into our new NBC News Stay Tuned poll, showing less than a quarter of women approve of the president. All of it a gamble by Goodell and the NFL that its new base is here to stay, as it makes an old foe a powerful fan.
Ryan is back with us now from the mall. There's somebody else who we saw standing there alongside Commissioner Goodell, alongside President Trump, and that's the D.C. Mayor, Muriel Bowser. There is a local connection and a role that she has to play here.
And it's a big role, Hallie, and it's not easy for Muriel Bowser. She is a liberal Democrat. She represents a very blue city, but the role of the Washington, D.C. government is very much intertwined with the federal government. They basically cannot do anything without federal government approval, and so that's why she has to play nice with President Trump. But there's more to do with the city and the federal government and the White House than just the day-to-day operations here. There's a larger effort here to make the Commanders, Washington, D.C.'s NFL team, play a bigger role in the city. There's a deal afoot right now to bring the Commanders back inside the city limits to play at the old RFK stadium site. They want to completely renovate that, put in a brand new dome, which could bring billions of dollars of revenue into the city. She can't do any of that without the federal government and specifically Donald Trump. So even though their politics are very much diametrically opposed on a whole host of issues, Hallie, she's got to find a way to work with Donald Trump in order to make not only this draft happen, but a number of other things that affect Washington, D.C.
That is for sure. Football, so high interest for so many people, as all these teams are just going, of course, to try to make it to the Super Bowl and win, as the Super Bowl champion, world champions Philadelphia Eagles did this past season. Ryan Nobles, thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.